Hey smokers, Jiraga1 here, and today we're going to be installing some upgrades into the PowerMac G4. That's right, it's going to get even more beefy. First and foremost, we're going to max out the RAM on this thing, taking it from 768 megabytes to 1 gigabyte. Yeah, not too much of a change, but at least we'll be maxed. Next, we're going to be throwing in a little bit of an I/O upgrade, giving it USB 2.0 instead of its regular 1.1. And we get a couple bonus FireWire 400 ports as well. Not really going to get too much use out of this, but it's still cool. Here we have a high-speed 64-bit FireWire 800 card. Yeah, this thing is so serious, it needs Molex power to operate. This is if you really want to get the most out of your FireWire 800. Here we have a zip drive from a PowerMac G3. And its corresponding drive cover that we'll be installing. And last but not least, we have a ATI Radeon 9000 Pro with 64 megabytes of VRAM. Yeah, this is actually the recommended card for playing Halo 1. This should get us into some better gaming territory on the Mac. Alright, with all those bases covered, let's get started. So first we're going to have to remove the 256 megabytes of SDRAM and replace them with 512 megabytes in the form of two 256 megabyte sticks. Pretty simple. Now we'll just install the PCI cards like you would any other PCI card. Pretty self-explanatory. The 64-bit FireWire 800 card is a little longer, obviously. Need all those bits. And then screw those puppies back in. And there we are. All installed. And let's not forget the video card. We don't need this old thing anymore. Can't play Halo for crap. So here's our new lovely beauty we'll be putting in there. There we go. And now we're 90% done. Now for the zip drive installation. So this is where it starts to get a little bit annoying. The zip drive installation. First we gotta pop off this front plastic here, which we actually won't be putting back on. As you can see, that's where the zip drive is supposed to go. And on this model, it didn't actually have it, so we'll have to install it ourselves. Not always the most straightforward thing to do. Oh, I forgot the other screw from last time. Well, we take this off. Slide a zip drive inside. And it's perfectly measured out. I'm only going to screw in the ones on this side because this is annoying as hell. So there it is. Let's put it back in. Now we don't want to put it in too far because we need to connect the cables. Now the zip drive should already be set to slave, and the CD or now DVD drive should already be set to master. So when I plug this in, it should just work. Now the downside is I don't have any zip disks to even test if this thing is going to work. So really it's just there to say it's there, and I'll make a video if I get any zip disks. Finish connecting the power. And no, I didn't forget to plug the FireWire 800 card in. There you go. Okay, so that's all hooked up. And push this in the rest of the way, and then screw it back together. Unfortunately, this upgrade is taking the longest, but no big deal, right? Alright, so here's hoping that the faceplates for the G3 and the G4 are interchangeable. Alright. Alright, so those are our upgrades. We got our new video card, more USB ports, FireWire 800 ports, and a zip drive. Pretty awesome. Oh, and extra RAM there, totally maxed out. So let's take a look at what ports we now have on the back. Okay, now things are starting to look pretty awesome. Here we have an Apple display connector port. Hopefully I can get that right. And a DVI port instead of a VGA port. So we'll actually be getting some digital video out of this thing this time. Of course, we have 2 more FireWire 400 ports, 3 more USB 2.0 ports, and 3 previously non-existent FireWire 800 ports. So now we're really cooking. So now that we have this thing loaded up and ready to rock, let's go ahead and start it up. Oh yeah. And in HD too. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so not much has changed since last time, except now we're rocking a higher screen resolution. So let's take a look at our specs. We're now rolling with a gig of RAM. Let's check out our other peripherals. There's our zip drive. So these are our FireWire buses. The first one is the one that came with the system. The second one is what's on that USB 2.0 card. And this third one is the FireWire 800 card. We have now successfully upgraded our graphics card. We are now in fact running an ATI Radeon 9000 Pro with 64 megs of VRAM. So since there's not a whole lot of FireWire hardware I have aside from some hard disks, that FireWire 800 card is not really going to be doing much for us, and neither is the USB/FireWire card, to be honest, as well. It's just some neat little add-ons to beef up an old system. And if I ever do get any zip disks, I'll be sure to make a video about it later. So the number one thing we have the capability of testing now is the graphics card. So naturally, I'm going to play Halo. Yes, again. I bet you didn't see that one coming. Now, we still don't have the selections for pixel and vertex shaders, and definitely not advanced pixel shaders. That's still outside the limits of this card, but hopefully we'll be able to have at least some of the things on high and maybe actually have a game that, well, is playable. Let's take a look. Now that's what it's supposed to look like. Man, it's like I'm not even on the same computer anymore. Damn. I can actually see what's going on. Let's turn them graphics up. And I'm not going to play this in total full screen because it will mess with my capture card. Okay. You know, ideally I should actually have it locked at 30 frames per second because I'm recording at 30 frames per second. Okay. So let's pick up where we left off, eh? Holy crap. Well, I can see stuff. But I think the graphics still might be a little too high because it is kind of laggy still. But wow. What a striking difference.
We need to get off the ship before it's completely overrun by Covenant.
Now this is what a graphics card upgrade is supposed to look like, baby. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, that's pretty laggy. Well, that's what you get for only 400 megahertz. But it really shows you what the graphics card is doing there. It's doing some serious work.
Those Marines could use some help, Chief. Do what you do best.
Oh god. Well, nothing has really changed in the lag department. It looks so much better. Let's try turning the graphics down.
Let's get it on! Going in! Hey, look! A Mach 5!
It doesn't seem to perform any better, it just looks like crap.
I'm gone, man! This is suicide!
Keep your head down. There's two of us in here
Shut
now,
up.
remember?
Lens far low, model detail low. Let's turn off the hardware shaders. So wait, if I do that, won't that disable the video card from working at all? Let's find out. Looks a bit crappier, but hey, it's working. Yeah, it's running a bit faster now. But still, nowhere near actually playable by any means. This
Those
is
Marines could use
still
some help.
pretty
Do what you do
bad.
best.
See, that's Halo. But what if... No, there's no way... There's no way this would work. No. Oh, shit. Alright, let's try it. Oh my god. I wish I could see what was happening. My capture card's fucking up. Oh my god, it's working and I can't even see it! What the fuck? I don't believe it. So, I actually got it running. Let's play it. Holy crap. Hey. It runs like poop. How do you play this? I really had no idea that this game would run on this computer. Oh my god. It's like way out of its league. Okay. Alright. I would not call this playable. This is probably 5 FPS. 10 FPS. I can't even kill this guy. I mean, this is... Look how smooth this is. So loud. The rest of the game, not so much. So right here, you're probably seeing the maximum potential that this computer will ever aspire to be. Alright, well, I think I'm done with this madness. I'm just in shock. I cannot believe that this worked. When I first bought this game as a kid for PC, it was a Windows Millennium Edition PC, and I didn't know anything about computers at the time. So we popped it in the drive, installed it, and we got the error message that I pretty much still remember, and it said need at least pixel shaders version 1.1. And the graphics card that was in that computer at the time didn't even know what the fuck pixel shaders were. And so when this game didn't run in the last episode, I pretty much thought, oh, this is just the Mac equivalent of that error, not launching. So when I put a new video card in this, I thought, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance this thing will actually start up. And lo and behold, it did. But if this game actually launched and ran on that old computer, and that error message never came up, I would have had a horrible experience trying to play it, because it would have been even worse than this, because I can tell you for certain that there was no ATI Radeon 9000 Pro in that thing. Well, personal stories aside, it works, and you can play it, but you wouldn't want to, because it sucks. But yeah, this is what happens when I use VGA instead of DVI. I don't know if you can see that, but it's kinda a little bit of signal distortion there. Alright, so that wraps up this episode of PowerMac G4 Adventures. I really was not expecting to do a third episode of this series. I pretty much felt that the whole concept was pretty exhausted. The majority of the peripherals that I added to the PowerMac G4 are pretty much useless. I don't think I'll ever use the FireWire 800, USB 2.0, and additional FireWire 400 ports, and I most certainly will not be using a zip disk drive. So it actually turns out that since this came out of an ancient PowerMac G3, it's only a zip 100 drive, which means I'll only be able to read the zip 100 megabyte disks, and the 250 and 750 versions will not be available. So really the oldest of the old is what this can read. So if there's a real super important document I need to get off of a zip disk, I technically can do it now, and it's accessible, and I can get at it. Yeah, sure, that's cool. But really it's pretty much useless, but fun nonetheless. So I hope all you guys enjoyed this, and I'm not sure if there's going to be an episode 4. The way things are going, I suppose it's possible if I run into a batch of zip disks, or turns out I have some old FireWire 800 thingamajigs that I can plug into this thing that is anywhere remotely interesting. I'll do it, but until then, I'll see you guys next time.